This video, we will be walking through step-by-step how to hire your first virtual assistant. This will be a complete guide, starting from what can I even outsource, when to bring on a virtual assistant, all the way down to how do I find virtual assistants, vet them, qualify them, interview them, onboard them, and then most importantly, manage them. We'll be covering absolutely everything. A little bit about me. My name is Daniel. I am the co-founder of a e-com store. We sell sneakers, mostly Jordan's name brand products. And we are a three-man team. It's myself, my brother, and my virtual assistant. We did about $67,000 in revenue last month. And I can safely say I work about 10 hours a month on this business, usually a couple hours a week, just doing creative tasks and management tasks. But I am completely removed from the day-to-day operations solely from my virtual assistant. So this is everything that I did to find my virtual assistant. I made many mistakes, many didn't work out. This is what I wish I had, and it'll be all customized into your business, whether that's B2B, B2C, that you can just plug and play after going through this. So the first step is, what can I even outsource? And the short answer, it's any repetitive task that has been systemized into a step-by-step process. It can be anything, just about anything. Data entry, updating spreadsheets, CRMs, or anything with database data management is the most common. Product listings, this is what we use our virtual assistant for. Customer support, inbox management, lead scraping, email outreach, sales order management, order processing, even schoolwork. Schoolwork's a perfect example because the professor will give you likely a step-by-step instructions of what they're looking for. And that is exactly what we are using for virtual assistants, is when we've systemized the process, you've done it ourselves, and there's a clear step-by-step process of what the job entails. So the first filter that I always like to put things from, my mentor, Matt Gray, taught me this, is can I automate or eliminate this before I end up delegating? For virtual assistants, we are delegating work. Before we even delegate, ask yourself, can I eliminate this altogether? Or more importantly, can I just automate this with different tools like Zapier, Slack, with your emails, setting up filters, finding a way to use software and AI, which it's ever increasing in terms of the capability of that. That is always the first option. And then once we have exhausted these systems right here, everything's in place, that's a great time to put a virtual assistant in also managing this and just having a little bit more of that human interaction with whatever task it may be. Probably a better question is what not to outsource. And the first thing is work that could be automated or eliminated, as I just mentioned. Work that is not systemized into a step-by-step process. If it's just all over the place, do this, do that, but there's no system to follow, it's going to be very tough for a virtual assistant to succeed at doing that task. What goes along with that is tasks that you or an employee haven't done yourself. If you have an idea of what you want, but you haven't actually done it, proven a foundation of what it looks like, it's going to be very hard for a virtual assistant to figure it out and create something for you in more of a decision-making task. Trust me, that does not work. I've tried it, and it just causes more headaches, more questions, and you end up having to do it all yourself in the end. Confidential information, executive decisions, that goes without saying. And then decision-making tasks, jobs that require a lot of reaction in terms of seeing a situation, making the best decision, more of that high-level cognitive tasks. I would, avoid a virtual assistant, have someone in-house as an employee to do that. So step two, when is the right time to even bring on a VA? The short answer is when you find yourself overwhelmed with daily operational work that prevents focus on higher leverage priorities. So you should do a time audit on your calendar, looking at your calendar in a given week. And if there's a lot of tasks that are just repetitive, you just have to get them done, but they're, you can put them in a system and it's just taking a lot of time. That is the perfect time to bring on a virtual assistant. Most importantly, number two is when you've actually built that step-by-step system for, a given task, whatever that may look like. So I'll pull up what our Systems Hub looks like. Again, you can personalize this to what your business is, but this is exactly what we have our virtual assistant do. Every single task is laid out clearly in terms of the work they're doing. There's a department, the creator, the owner of a system, which is our virtual assistant now, meaning they update this every quarter or so, and a step-by-step document along with a Loom video or a video explaining exactly how this works. So I'll open one of these to just give you an example. This is our cross-listing SOP, step-by-step, exactly what you're doing. This is what virtual assistants crush it at. And again, you also want to have a video explaining some of the nuances, you walking through this, along with also just the fixed cost. How many hours a day is this going to take or per week, along with, what it will cost to outsource a VA. We'll get more into that later in this video. But very, very important. The number one key indicator for success with the VA is having systems and processes in a systems hub like this all laid out. If you have this, you really can't go wrong. You cannot fail pretty much. It really comes down to how strong your systems are and keeping them up to date. So once you have decided that, you'll probably know if that's now or later. Now is the time to actually hire a virtual assistant. So the very first thing you will do is create a VA hiring account. Many different, softwares and accounts that you can create. My favorite is Online Jobs, PH. I've always used this one. It's worked great. Some people have not had success, but it always worked great for me. Other platforms to consider, Upwork is probably my second favorite, especially for more long-term contractors, different areas of finding talent across the world. Fiverr is going to be better for more project short-term. If it's your first time ever outsourcing work overseas, I would start with Fiverr just as a more project basis. Very seamless way just to pay someone for a project. Facebook groups and virtualstaff.ph are other good avenues. I haven't used these personally, but I know some other people have had success with these. I would go with Online Jobs. It's my favorite, very simple. It is $69 a month. You can just make that subscription for the first month. And I'll pull it up. This is what it looks like on the inside. Create an account, very simple. And $70 for 1 month subscription. This will basically help you find that virtual assistant, and then you can cancel it. Just pay for it. It's worth it. And from there, what you can do is create a job post. So you made an account. I won't make a video on that. Very self-explanatory. Just go there, create an account with your email, and then you will actually create a job posting. So what does that look like in here? Very simple. Click post a job, and you will simply fill out this information based on the job information that you're looking for from a VA. So this is a template of exactly what I've used for a title. I just go experienced, whatever that may be. Product lister in this case. Type of employment is part-time is what we have. Currently our VA is full-time, but you can start with part-time if it's a few tasks that you're starting off with. For the description right here, you can copy and paste this exact description right here. I like to keep it very short, concise, not too wordy, but also just getting right to the point in terms of what it actually entails in the job. So copy and paste this, you can format it correctly. The key things with this is you want to just have a couple sentences here outlining what the job entails, what you're looking for. If it's a more technical task, you want to have probably a little bit more, clarity on this. Job requirements right here in terms of basically just proven experience doing these tasks before, working remote, proficiency in English, familiarity with our platforms. Again, that's personalized to you. And then just character traits, strong attention to detail, effective time management. I always like to include something like this in your job application to have a word or a phrase where just to indicate they've thoroughly read through this description. You will have a lot of just spam applicants coming in. So just make sure people are actually reading through this and doing that. Technical requirements, very simple. Do they have a 64-bit processor? This is a non-negotiable, basically a computer that works fast and is not going to be slow. Fast, reliable internet connection, make them do a Wi-Fi speed test, which we'll get into. And then a VPN access, you can provide that as the employer. Just make sure they are geographically in the United States or wherever you are working from. Make sure there's no account bans, depending on the task you're doing. Early pay, RVAs make $6 an hour right now. You can start at $3. People will work for $3. They'll be happy, but just pay them $6, or just start at $5 at a bare minimum, $5 to $10 an hour, depending on the task. This is very simple work right here, just basic data entry and product listing. If it's a little bit more technical task, probably close to that $10 an hour rate is fair. But don't be cheap with this. You can double somebody's salary and it'll be life-changing for them, and it doesn't affect your bottom line that much. You pair of VAs extra every week when they do great work. So don't be cheap with it. Again, you can probably start at $3 or $4 an hour to get the person going, but I would start at $5 in terms of long-term salary for them. Hours per week, you can fill that in. 20 to 25 is what we did, and a long-term length. And the final thing you will do is have application questions. So this is in the very initial job post. Again, we were just kind of putting this out there, gathering who is qualified from a top of funnel, kind of gathering as many people as we can. So don't make these too specific. If you're not getting too many responses, you can make this more open-ended. But this right here, really just 4 questions. Are you on board with the hours, the working 1 or 2 hours on the weekend? What do you think are the 3 most important character traits someone should have? If they're smart, they should just copy and paste this right here to see their attention to detail. What is your current computer model, bit processing speed, and the results from a Wi-Fi speed test? Make them run this, and you can just get an initial gauge of kind of the computers and the tech they have. And then the last question, what relevant experience do you have for this role? What makes you unique? I don't really look at this right off the bat. We're going to have an actual application form, but this is just a good way to see, did they get it under 7 sentences, or did they send me 3 paragraphs? and kind of just understanding who that person is. The last thing is just in terms of the timeline on the application. You'll have people coming in at all hours of the day if you have that application open. So usually 6 days out, whatever that date may be, put it in there and encourage them to apply early to maximize their chance of being selected. So you're going to copy and paste that into here. Again, you can format it correctly, apply it to your own job, fill out in terms of the salary per month. We pay ours around 700, I believe, give or take, depending on the week and how many days in the month. And the desired amount of hours worked, email, and then you can fill out the skills that are relevant and click post. Make sure it does not send your email because you'll get hundreds of emails. And simply click post. From here, you will get messages coming in. So, you'll post this job application, tons of messages coming in. And that's when you can move them on to the next hiring or next stage of this hiring process, depending on these applications. So from here, you'll post a job application, let it simmer for a bit. You'll start getting messages in immediately. Don't respond to them right away. Just let it simmer for a bit. And from there, we're still on day one. You'll then create a job overview video in an application form. So this will be, a little bit more walking through everything in terms of what the job entails. Again, you can just use Loom to do this. Very simple, 10-minute video, really walking through the day-to-day tasks in terms of what it entails, highlight some of the boring aspects of the job. Don't make this a huge, sexy promise. More so what the work looks like from a high-level overview, nothing confidential. And at the end of this, you can have a job application form here. You can make this with Airtable and basically just, a few more questions that are a little bit more qualified in terms of, who this person is and are they qualified. So I like to do rate your English ability, on these levels right here. We want to go for advanced or advanced mastery. Are you available to work the hours? What is your internet speed? Your computer? I make sure these are consistent with this first job application that we're putting out here, making sure there's no incongruency there. And then a couple other things, just your hourly rates, make sure it's aligned there in the ballpark, how soon you can start, social medias, and then most importantly here, I'm just looking for a 1 to 2 minute video introducing yourself and what you believe those 3 most important qualities are for success in this role. You can tailor this, you can ask for experience, but again, really what I'm looking for is just a video. I'm looking to understand their English ability on camera, get a sense of who they are, and really see if it's worth to have an interview with them. So we're still on day one right here. Once you have posted this job application, you will then create this video and this application form using Airtable, custom tailor these questions, but very basic ones. Again, just first level of qualification. So once this is done, you can start responding to these applicants that are qualified. So you'll go through your messages here from all these applications that are coming in, really just, see, did they answer these questions right here? Is this a qualified person? And then if they are, then you will send out this template, really with the overview video and the application form. Don't send this to everybody just because you're going to get too many applicants coming in, but you can copy and paste this template. Thank you for the initial response to that job post. I put together a short video, explains the day-to-day tasks. Leave that link right here. Take a moment to watch this. If it sounds like a good fit, fill out the application form at the end. And then you can expect to hear back, I'd say, within 6 or 7 days. You're going to let this simmer for a bit, let everybody come in and apply that. And then, if they like the role, they have an idea of it, they will apply from it, and you will go from there. So you'll send this out. The one thing to mention is do this all at once or one time during the day. So you'll post a job application. Tons of applications will come in. Take 10 minutes at the end of each day to get all those applications coming in. And just copy and paste this template right here all at once. Don't be doing it, when the applications come in every hour because it just is a lot and then you don't know who you responded to. But every day, every other day for the next 3 or 4 days, everybody that responds, send this message, copy and paste to them, with a job application video and the form. So you'll wait about 7 days for this. And this is when job applicants will start coming in. So if we come to our Airtable here, we can come into our team. And this is what it will look like in terms of the applications that are coming in. Blocked out the names of these people, but you will have a good amount coming in. We had 70 for this. I believe this is another one we did. And close to 100. So you want to aim for probably close to that 100 mark in terms of applications coming in. And you can sort by seeing everything that they filled out. What is their English level? What are their download speeds? The most important thing I'm looking for is their Loom video. I will open this up. It should be 1 or 2 minutes. If it's more, they didn't follow directions. And watch it on 2x speed. Really just see, is this person worth an interview? Do they have good social skills? Do they watch the initial job overview video and they have a good understanding of what it is? And are they worth getting on a 15 to 30 minute interview? So wait about 7 days for everybody to come in. Again, do this all at once. And then you will get their email here Again, I'll keep that private for everybody, but go into your email and just respond to every single person, whether you are offering them a job or they're not quite a good fit. So we'll get back into that in terms of templates. Yeah, before that, you can set up interviews with Calendly. That's what I use. We'll go into that. This is a dummy account right here. But very simply, make a VA interview form just like this. Make it 30 minutes. And I like to label it rather than a formal interview. This is more so just a casual conversation to see if this job would be a good fit for you and our team. You want to keep this as casual as possible. You've been through an interview. Everybody wants to have that perfect answer, the right answer. A lot of times there is an English barrier too when you're having these interviews. It's a little bit different than a normal interview. So you really just want to get the authentic self of who you're talking to. Are they a good fit? More of a vibe check, rather than a formal interview. One other thing to just keep in mind is that the Philippines are roughly 12 hours ahead of the United States, depending on what time zone you are here. So I like to set up the calendar from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at night and do it for about 3 or 4 days out in advance, just to batch all that, make sure the time is reasonable for them. And again, do this all at once. So you will set up Calendly, very simple. Yeah, very, very simple. And then you will start inviting these candidates for interviews. So again, this is all these applicants that came in right here, and you'll either decide, are they worth it based on this information to have an interview or not? And here are 2 templates that you can look for. Again, weed anybody out that does not have that good computer or 20 megabytes per second in Wi-Fi speed. You can go less, like 5 or 10 will work, but you just don't want this to be an issue. It'll just slow everything down. So that's a rule of thumb that I like to go by. If they didn't make a Loom video, again, they're disqualified, and any other clear red flags that you see. So if somebody is qualified, you will then email them with the email they gave you there. Hey, name, awesome news. You've advanced to the next step of our hiring process. I'd like to invite you to a casual 15, 30 minute Zoom interview, 15 to 30 minutes. If it's just not a good fit, you can end it early at 15. If it goes that full 30 minutes, it's usually enough time to get an understanding of who they are. Drop the link right there, just so you're aware I'm aiming to make my final hiring decision another 6 days out, just for a timeline. Excited to connect with you soon. For the people that are not qualified, maybe they didn't make a Loom video, or they did make a Loom video, but it's just not quite a good fit. If they made a Loom video, definitely respond to them and let them know, let them thank them that, that for making that, and it's just not a good fit, just so they hear back. So thank you for taking the time. Unfortunately, we decided to move forward with other candidates. Again, this is all copy and paste that you can do for candidates you are not selecting. Do this all at once. So have this just copy and pasted, run through all these people, email everybody at once, all the disqualifieds at once, get this done at once. Don't go in and email some people and come back to this. Make this just a 1-hour task, bang it all out. It's very, very important with this because a few different steps, and if you're all over the place, it's just going to get a mess. And I want to just make this as systemized as possible just for your sake in terms of doing this efficiently. So step 9, we'll be actually conducting these interviews. Do this over 3 or 4 days. Again, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. usually is when I would do these for 3 or 4 days. Bang them all out, 30 minutes at a time. The best practices for interviewing. First off, aim for 15 or 20 interviews, even potentially more than that, depending on how serious this role is and how much expertise you're looking for. But you want to get a good enough sample size, okay? You'll probably have a good interview. That's the 3rd interview or 4th interview you do, and you'll think, perfect, this person's good to go. But run the full course, because if for whatever reason that doesn't work, you're going to have to redo this whole process. So I like to do 6 interviews a day. Again, 30 minutes from a 3-hour time period, over 3 days, 18 interviews or so. I found that works great. And keep track of all these people that you're interviewing with this interview guide right here. Very simple, just keeping notes of the name of the person, their email, the dates you had the interview, and any key takeaways. I will just have this up while I'm asking them questions, and anything that stands out that's good or bad, red flags, just take note of so you can keep an organized file of everybody that you are speaking to here. This will be great to reference. I'll also mention to record all these interviews. You can use Fathom or many other screen recorders or video recorders. You can just use Zoom as well, just in case you want to go back and see the person when you're making that final hiring decision. Reference that first interview. It's always good to have. A couple other things. As I mentioned, create a very casual, friendly environment to help these candidates feel comfortable and authentic. We want to lower their guard, have a conversation. A lot of the interviews I've had with potential VAs, they feel very nervous. They're worried about their English. So again, lower that guard, make it very casual. Ask open-ended questions to uncover those character traits. That's really what we're going for here, is do they have the work ethic, the reliability, the punctuality, all that type of good stuff. And less about the experience, especially for an entry-level position here. Pay attention to English ability on this interview, their tonality, hesitations, reactions, A lot of those intangibles will give you a lot of insight of whether this is a good person. And ask for very specific examples. Push for clarity. Use follow-up questions like, can you give me a specific example on that? What do you mean by that? If they're giving you just high-level answers, go deep into when have you actually done an example of this, in your work experience. The last thing is pay attention heavily to anything they dislike, bad bosses, bad work experience, things that didn't work out in the past. And that gives you a good insight to whether that will be a recurring theme with them. And just what they don't like, I found is a much better thing in terms of what have you done? What of all these things you've done? Everybody can promise the world, but what are the things you haven't liked or bad experiences in the past will give you a lot more insight in terms of that. So overall interview process and questions, again, these are just broad questions. You can tailor these to what you are looking for. But off the bat, just exchange pleasantries. How are you doing? Set frame for the call. Listen, John, this is a very casual interview call, really to understand more about you and your experience and see if this is a good fit for both you and our team. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, very casual here. And then at the end of this, I'll let you ask any questions that you have for me. Does that sound good? Something very simple like that, and get right into it. So first off, what excites you about this opportunity after watching that job overview video? They should pull some insights based on what you said in that video. Tell me about past work experience or key responsibilities you've had. What's been your favorite part about that? What was your least favorite part about that last job? Tell me about your boss. What's a great boss you've had? What's the worst boss you've had? Share an example of when working with someone has been difficult, when there's been challenges with work. Are you comfortable with receiving feedback? Share an example of how you've used it to improve. How do you approach tasks that you've never done before, if hired here? What strengths or skills set you apart from other applicants applying? And then, make it clear in terms of the pay rates and the hours worked. Again, we want to just dial that in terms of just expectations. Does that align with what you're looking for? And then lastly, what questions do you have for me about this role, the team, or expectations? Good candidates should ask you good questions at the end, and more so than in terms of like, what do I get paid? Type of thing, more around what you did in that job overview video. And really preface in terms of what you are looking for from this candidate, and they should, somewhat mirror or reflect that in questions they ask you. And the last thing is just end the candidates, thanking them for their time. Share next steps, including like when they will hear back in terms of a timeline. Just keep them in the loop. And again, this will be probably a 3 or 4 day process in terms of doing interviews. So about 4 days or day 13 of this process is a good date to let them know. So from here, you will do 15 to 20 interviews. You'll likely know right off the bat kind of who are these top 3 to 5 candidates, who are people that are unqualified. Revisit this tracker right here to reference everybody, and recordings as well if you need to. And really just select those top 3 to 5 finalists based on the interviews. This should come to you pretty naturally. This person was great. I really like this person. This person has great experience, whatever it may be. And when you have those top 3 to 5 candidates, you can send them this message. So send them the email back. Excited to move forward with next steps. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me. I'd like to invite you to the next step in the interview process, a paid trial work period, et cetera, et cetera. I'll provide a detailed breakdown of what those tasks look like by this stage. Please confirm if you're interested by replying to this email, and we can begin right away. Make sure you get a buy-in from this. Don't just send them, trial work right off the bat. Make sure they agree and accept. Usually, these top 3 to 5 applicants, since they are been qualified by you and you like them, they should be bought in. And usually 100% of these applicants will accept the trial period. For the candidates that you have interviewed that are not a good fit, again, send them this message. Don't just ignore them. Thank you for the time, and just explaining that you decided to move forward with other candidates for this role. Potentially keep an eye open for future opportunities. Make sure you do that just so people are in the loop. Freedom with respect, all that good stuff. So from here, you have those 3 to 5 candidates. Now it's time to send over trial work. This is vital because it's never, you can never make a good judgment based on an application or even an interview. People always put their best foot forward. Let's put the, talk to the test in terms of starting with trial work. So the best way to do this is just create a day's worth or a half day of relevant tasks around this role. And you can assign a paid test assignment. So just do some assignments. What I like to do here is just make a Google Doc in terms of what this will look like. For our company, we did just 25 product drafts and data entry for that, and then correct 25 products and data entry. What you can do here is reference this Systems Hub, and usually just 1 or 2 of these systems. You can just copy and paste the direct training from this. Very entry-level stuff. Don't share any confidential passwords or have them logging into too many accounts. Right now, our VAs are in all of our accounts. I see a lot of the finances. We fully trust them with that, but make sure it's more entry level. Working in spreadsheets is great. Make just dummy accounts if you need to. But if your systems are good, it should be just a couple clicks. copy and paste into right here in terms of the direct instructions, both document form and video. Give them any relevant information in terms of login and any data sheets they'll be need. And then very important at the end of this, have them submit an end of day report so you know that they're finished work and that they can get paid for this. Also very important to not give them a time assignment for this. Make it more of a task and an assignment format. Complete 25 drafts. What you will notice is that out of these 5 candidates, there'll be varying time lengths. Some people will get this done in a couple hours. Some people will take a full workday, and we'll get everybody paid regardless. But those people that take 8 hours to do 25 product drafts, probably not a good fit in terms of the efficiency. And you will have some people inflate their hours right off the bat, which you know that will not be working with them long term, just on basically the efficiency of that. So end of day report, make this one the same, the normal one you'll be using for this job task. And very simple stuff. Again, tell them to put a 0 or a blank if it's not relevant. This is what ours looks like right now. But yeah, how many STUs are listed? Again, you can personalize this to those key KPIs you were looking for. At the end of this, always, how many focused hours did you work today? And then this is another good question. How was your day? Where can we improve? Where can we get 1% better? You'll find good candidates will have ways to improve or feedback, even from an initial trial point. You'll just get feedback on how it went and see how they liked it from here. But yeah, do a simple form like this. I'll go more into this towards the end of this video in terms of setting this up and how to, put this in place to really track this, but pretty automated. So you'll see that report come in, get them paid through Wise. I can go over that later as well. And it'll be a seamless process from here. So yeah, you'll send the trial work over, clear instructions, and the end of day form will show completion. Evaluate these results. So these will come in through Airtable as well. Back in here, you can have different forms for whether it's an application or an end of day right here. And then you can really look at the results, look for the quality of the work, the efficiency of it, even the questions they asked. They'll probably ask you questions here in terms of how to do certain things. Is it a good question, or is it something that could have been answered just by going through the systems video that we sent over? This is the email you can send over for the trial work assignment. So this is an overview assignment, everything you'll need to know to get started. And yeah, very simple. Have a document that's right here in terms of deliverables and how to do everything. And then yeah, also again, when you're going to make that final hiring decision, they can expect to be paid within 24 hours. Just very clear, setting expectations, making sure everything's laid out, and et cetera, et cetera. So step 11, we're at about 2 weeks now. Again, you can shorten this process, but don't rush it too much. 14 days, about 2 weeks is about a good timeline. And now on day 15, it comes time to make the decision and offer the job. So really 2 aspects of this. The number one, most relevant one is just go with your gut. Based on the interview, the whole process so far in this last week, who do you vibe with? Who do you feel has that buy-in? And then kind of the second aspect is being more logical with evaluating the trial work end of days. What was their performance? What was the quality of work? Did they ask questions? Kind of those type of things. Really put these 2 together. Half logical, half instinctual is how I like to make hiring decisions for a virtual assistant. And assess these 3 areas mainly. First, the character. This is most important. Are they trustworthy, loyal, reliable? Do they show up on time? How quickly do they get this work done? So you'll send out this for 5 different candidates. You'll see different levels of how quick do they get it done right away. Our VA did it immediately. It was overnight for his time, 2 a.m. He just got it done, banged it out in 2 hours. And, that's a good sign to look for. Skills, the work quality, accuracy, efficiency. Another thing, as I mentioned, with that end of day form. And then just overall cultural fit. Are they down MF? That's the most important thing with hiring. That's honestly, what I look for. Are they down? Things will change. There will be workload shifts probably. You'll maybe have them do a random task here and there as things change. So do they really have that whatever it takes mindset? Do they pass the vibe check? Again, they don't need to be your best friend, or they don't need to meet all those boxes in terms of, you can hang out with them every day. But just are they down? You'll be communicating with them a lot, having them help you explain different tasks. So make sure they are someone you like to work with. That's kind of where I'm going through with that. So make the offer, trust your instincts on that, and extend that offer. Here's a message that you can copy and paste. We're thrilled to offer you a role for our team. Let them take 24 hours to ensure this role feels right for you. We want to feel confident and energized about the work you'll be doing. You can do a quick overview of the initial responsibilities. We'll get to a contract later, but data management, platform management, inbox management, that's what we have our core VA do. Kind of highlighting kind of an overview. Again, they should have experience. They should already know, what they're doing based on the systems hub and the overview video. And yeah, clearly state out the pay, the hours of what they'll be working. And from there, also you can move to a fixed salary, after 2 or 3 months, you can mention that here. But for the first couple months, just pay them hourly is what I found works best. And yeah, take the time to think it over. Let me know if you're ready to move forward. Send this to the top candidate that you have, whoever you choose, right away. For the other 3 to 4 candidates, let it simmer for about 24 hours. Make sure you hear back, and this candidate is the one that accepts. Don't reject anybody quite yet, and then maybe this person accepts another job offer, and that's kind of an awkward situation. So once they accept, then for the candidates that you will not be selecting, send them this message, basically thanking them for their time, doing the trial work, make sure they get paid and all that, take good care of them. And then just to keep in touch if there's future opportunities. Again, these are probably great candidates to just keep in your pipeline if you have another hire that you need to make. So don't burn any bridges, respond to them. Again, the same, kind of messages we're doing for, the disqualified people at each stage of this hiring process. So when you have that candidate on board, they're the one. You can then send a expectations or legal agreement. If it's a more serious task, maybe they're managing your social media accounts, I would lean more on that legal agreement using PandaDoc or DocuSign. If it's, you're not going to be suing a VA from the Philippines. I've never heard of a case where you will. So I like more of just an expectations kind of contract. Here's a template of what you can use for that. Really just outlining kind of the overall positions, the tasks you're doing. You can fill these in relevant to you. Schedule and hours, what it'll take, compensation, when you're paying them, how you'll pay them. Again, we use wise.com as a payment method. You can use PayPal, but Wise is super simple. I can pull it up right here. So yeah, make an account for this. Very simple to use. I won't walk through that right now, but that's a great way to pay people internationally. PayPal has some fees, so you can use PayPal, but Wise, I would say, is the best bet for that. And yeah, send over that VA contract. They will sign that here at the bottom. This really just makes it a real opportunity. It shows that you're serious. It shows that this is a real thing. It's a real responsibility. This isn't some just work from home overseas, no accountability. So it's more just for the validity of it, less for you're taking them to court if something goes wrong. You won't be doing that. So I always like to just send that over and make just clear expectations. It's the most important thing with all this. And from there, step 13, you will then do onboarding and end-of-day forms. Again, we touched on the end-of-day forms initially, but yeah, you'll make sure the agreement is signed. Schedule an onboarding call with this person. So use this time to just welcome the VA, introduce the team, set expectations in a more verbal setting for the role. Walk through the systems hub that you have here. So they will probably have gone through those first couple videos in the trial work, but walk through these ABC just in terms of what it will take. And the great thing with this is it's pretty much a one-click onboarding. Share this document over to their email. Give them 1 day to go through all these documents and all these videos. Have them watch the video with the document pulled up to give them clear, just step-by-step tasks. This is basically all the training you will need to do. And virtual assistants are great in the sense that they're very structured. They can follow a process if you hire the right one. And that should be, most of the onboarding is just having that system in place. So it really comes down to getting that right. It's very, very important. And the last thing is give them any access to necessary softwares, other SOPs or tools they'll be using. When they're logging into certain accounts, I like to do it on a Zoom call. So have them share their screen, give them the passwords on a Zoom call, see them log in. If there's two-factor, you can do that right there. Make sure they are on a VPN. Many different VPNs you can use. We use ExpressVPN. It works great. They can set their location to Chicago or wherever you are in the United States. That's always good, especially if they're logging into certain accounts where, it could be flagged if it's overseas. But yeah, get them all set up. This is probably the most time-consuming part of this whole process, but make sure they're all good to go. They have access to everything. And yeah, set up those end-of-day forms. Again, you'll be using Airtable for this, or you can use Typeform. And yeah, basically the kind of main KPIs you're looking for these are just personal to what we use, but all the tasks that they're doing every single day, metrics in terms of, how many shoes did they list. You can do how many shoes did we sell today. And you can automate this into your Slack channel here. So this is an example of Jed right here, our VA. He'll give us an update in terms of how many shoes were sold, revenue collected for the day, revenue collected for the month. This is for December, and then all these certain things. And then at the end of the day, how was your day? Where can you improved? You can kind of get an update from him. You'll get tons of good ideas if you have a proactive VA, because they'll be managing the system every single day. They'll learn more about it than even you knew. Again, you'll have to do this yourself first, but once you delegate it, there'll always be ways to improve, especially when software is updates. So I've gotten so many good ideas from our VAs because they're in the trenches every single day, and ask for that feedback every single day. And this is a great way to get feedback. You'll see it every single day. And instead of going back and forth or scheduling meetings, you can just get a clear, concise overview. This is all I look at every single day to see how the business is running. I get an activity report, a financial report. I can make a separate video on how to integrate that, but very self-explanatory. You can just use Zapier, Airtable, and link that to your Slack channel or Discord or whatever you use for communication. So establish that routine. Again, they should have done that for the trial period. You can do end of week reports too if it's more relevant on a weekly time period, but end of day works great for me. That's a requirement, non-negotiable, every single day in order to get paid. You're filling out exactly what you did, and really make sure those KPIs are just very clear. And yeah, track progress, challenges, achievements. There will oftentimes be issues that they'll come up in the end of the day. You can just record a quick video on explaining it, just walking through it real quick. And that way you're just not setting up meetings. So the last thing, kind of the first 90 days is really when you're going to be most heavily involved with managing this VA. But again, it should be very hands-off. I very rarely schedule meetings with my VAs. The first 90 days is when you do want to have meetings. So, after this onboarding call, set a 7-day, meeting in terms of just reflection on those first weeks of end of days. Make it more of a training call, walk through things, screen share. 30 minutes works great, 30 to an hour. 14 days, have another meeting. 30 days, again, it's the same type of deal, just reflection on what's working. If something is not going well and you're doing these training calls, this is when you're going to want to let a VA go, in these first 90 days. And again, you can gradually increase their responsibilities. We'll start with kind of the 3 most important systems or tasks they're doing. Inbox management was a little bit tougher because it's, live conversations. So that we, integrated more at that 30 to 60 day mark. But yeah, you can slowly increase their workload, start them very simple. And again, have the system in place where it's pretty self-explanatory. For things like inbox, let's say it's customer support, again, it's not a step-by-step process necessarily because there's a million possibilities of what a message could be like. So for something like this, you want to have a system that is basically around every possibility. Again, you want to have handled hundreds of messages, at least 10 or 20 of the most common examples, show them how you responded step by step. And, that'll be a good enough system where they can gather that information and pretty much be a decision maker, within that frame of what they're receiving for inbox. But that's just a random example. Maybe you're not doing customer support for your VAs. But again, you need to do it yourself, prove the system. I'll keep saying that over and over. That's how you can have a successful VA. It's the most important thing with all this. And at that 90-day mark, move them to a salaried position. Just because with the hours, I don't like paying by the hour because it does incentivize just working longer. And again, you want to be really clear on KPIs, what it takes, see their workload. You'll get that in the trial period. And then basically just extend that to paying them on a salary basis. Every Friday, they get a certain amount. Every month, they get a certain amount. Every other week, whatever you want to do. Again, you're using Wise for that to pay them. And you can just set that up on auto pay. Very, very simple. And from here, you have hired a killer virtual assistant. Congratulations. What I will do is link a doc right here for all these message templates that you can just come in, the job description, qualifying these candidates. You can copy and paste this. You can put this into GPT and personalize this for your specific role. And these should be all good to go just to copy and paste. So I will leave that in the description. Let me know if you have any other questions, whether you want me to make a training on how to integrate the end-of-day forms, anything with Airtable, I can make a follow-up video on that. But within 14 days, you can have a killer VA. This will help you grow your revenue, save your time, save your just mental bandwidth. It's really a cheat code, and it's a great first hire when you're just getting your business off the ground. So I will leave you with that. Peace.